Dr. Melba Ketchum. I thought I'd give you a Halloween story. It's true, though. It's not just a tale. As most of you know, I've had experience with Bigfoot people. I prefer to call them forest people. But this is a little different. This is something that it's not the same thing exactly, although they're similar. A dogman is what I'm talking about. And dogmen can come in a couple of forms from eyewitness accounts. One form is a being that looks more or less like a Sasquatch or a forest person, but their face looks kind of like a dog. They have the long muzzle and a different look about them. The other form looks a little more canine, kind of like a giant wolf with little to no human features. Being a scientist, I tend to be very skeptical of a lot of things that I've come across, and Dogman was one of them, just like I didn't believe Sasquatch when I started the DNA study, but seeing is believing, and seeing the DNA also is believing. The Dogman, though, was a different character. I know that over the years I've talked with a lot of habituators that have had contact with these creatures, and a lot of them think they're bad, and there's a few that haven't had bad results with them. The interesting thing is that it seems like the forest people don't like them. They tend to go elsewhere for a period of time if there's a dogman in the area. I'm not saying this is true in all cases, but it seems to be the prevailing sentiment of people that do interact with the Sasquatch people. Anyway, my own experience as a non-believer in dogmen came a while back. The first report was actually the person that helps feed my animals. He was pulling down to the lease and it's a dirt road leading to it, and it's pretty heavily wooded. This man is retired military. He's no nonsense, and he didn't believe in the forest people whenever we started this whole thing, but he's seen enough now that he has to agree that there's something there. But as he was pulling down the road, he had a first-hand encounter with Dogman, and it was standing bipedally in the middle of the dirt road as he was driving toward it, and he was just dumbfounded. He said it looked like a giant black wolf, and it was just standing there, and it stared at him, and then it took just one giant leap about 30 feet into the woods and disappeared. He's not scared of anything, and he was all shook up when I saw him, and related the story to me. So, I didn't doubt him because there's been too many reports of these things, but it was just strange of all the things that he would see. I expected him maybe to see one of the Sasquatch at one point, but he surprised me with this story, and I could tell, he's an honest person anyway, but he didn't know what to think. He was upset. He knew that he had never seen any creature be able to do what this thing did. First of all, he'd never seen a wolf-like creature staring at him bipedally, and he'd never seen anything take that type of leap from a standstill in an upright position. So I didn't think a whole lot about it, other than it was kind of remarkable. But the very next day, I was out checking the horses, and I saw this creature running quadrupedally across the pasture. He was abnormally fast. He looked like just a giant wolf. Much big. We don't have wolves here in East Texas. We have coyotes, and we have some coyote dog mix type things running around. We call them canids. But the red wolf used to inhabit this area, and it's no longer here. So we don't have anything near that big or black, and certainly not that big, and not that fast. I've not seen any animal travel that fast in this area. And it was broad daylight in both of these sightings, and it was running across the pasture really fast. And I was actually in my vehicle whenever I saw it, and I was turning onto the dirt road to leave out from the lease. And as I was going along the road, it didn't have anywhere to go, because it was, I lost sight of it for just a second, but it was just behind a tree, and I saw it run through a barbed wire fence. It didn't even slow down, and it was headed toward a mesh fence, and the mesh fence should have, it had to turn one way or the other. And so as I pulled out onto the dirt road, the thing just vanished. It had to have turned left or right, but it didn't. It just was gone, and I didn't see any more of it. It was pretty amazing. And I pondered it, and the day, I guess it was 2 days later, I went out. I have a couple of dogs that live out there, and one of them is in a yard type situation, and the other one is loose because it's not near the pavement. And the dog that was loose, I found in the dog pen, and he was dead, and there was no way for him to get into that pen. And the same gentleman that takes care of the animals, we both were looking at it, and it had been killed with surgical precision. It was the doggonest thing I've ever seen. Having a degree in veterinary medicine, I've performed a lot of postmortems, but this was, like I say, with surgical skill. It was laid completely flat open, and all of the organs were removed with the exception of the downside lung and the heart and the stomach. The rest of all of the organs were completely gone. The side of the abdomen was gone, and the upside of the ribs were gone, and the limbs were disarticulated, so it was laid out flat like a pancake. The interesting thing about the ribs was they were removed and cut almost like you'd taken a bandsaw and just cut through them in a straight line. And they were not smooth like a saw. They were shattered where they were cut, but it was in a straight line. And that just doesn't happen in nature. And there were huge canine teeth imprints in the body where it had been chewed upon. And like I say, it was just completely, the body cavity was just completely exposed from the top side up. Obviously this was not the fault of the other dog, nor was it the fault of anything I've ever seen. Like I say, it was almost like a cattle mutilation, except that I did find teeth marks on the down near the hind legs. So I was really upset about this, and so I should have taken pictures, and I didn't. I just was too upset. And so I was worried that there was other damage to be found, and sure enough there was. I've been told tales by habituators that sometimes some of these beings, whatever they are, will rape a horse. And as I was checking the livestock, I came across one of my gray mares, and she was bleeding from her back end, and she was just exceptionally upset, and so much so that I really couldn't examine her. She wanted to fight, and she had kicked so much that she had hurt both of her hocks, and they were swollen. So whatever had done this, I don't know the Dogman did it, but I suspicion he did. because there's no other explanation for such strange things happening. And fortunately, the horse recovered. But like I say, it was a strange and horrifying story. I don't know how to categorize this exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have had more experience with dogmen than I have. I mean, this was just this one chance sighting that I had and that the farm help had. But the fact that it injured and killed animals just makes me think that they're bad. And like I say, a lot of people will tell me that these forest people won't stay around whenever these things are around, and I did not notice any activity for a week or so around this time from the forest people. So I think that there may be something to that. Anyway, that's my Halloween story, and it's morbid and it's frightening. Because of this, I'm a lot more careful going outside at night anymore, and I don't go into the woods by myself anymore. Because, I have no fear of the Sasquatch. They've never offered to harm me, and there's not a problem there. But this thing is a whole different creature, and like I say, having seen it, I don't want anything to do with it. But anyway, that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll add more to the channel as things come available. Happy Halloween!